victims and visits the accident site where the bridge snapped. Prime Minister chairs a review meet, assures justice and a thorough probe to survivors. Politics explodes over hospital renovation. Opposition accuses Prime Minister team of event management. India Today tracks the firm behind the collapse. Top Oreva officials are still missing. Oreva boss Jaisukh Bhai Patel's house deserted, office shut since Diwali. Conman Sukesh's explosive charge against the Aam Aadmi Party writes a letter to the Delhi LG alleging he paid over 60 crores to AAP and Satyendra Jain. Arvind Kejriwal calls it BJP's attempt to divert attention from the Morbi tragedy. Air quality deteriorates across the national capital as several locations turn hazardous. Quality to remain very poor to severe in the next 6 days. War of words erupts over stubble burning in Punjab. Bharat Jodo Yatra in Telangana stirs a political face-off. Rahul Gandhi mocks Chief Minister KCR's national ambitions. Son KTR hits back, says Rahul couldn't even win his seat from Amethi. Controversy erupts ahead of the crucial Munugode by-poll in Telangana. Violence on the last day of campaigning. BJP convoy allegedly attacked by TRS. Police resort to a lathi charge. Heavy rains bring Chennai to a standstill. IMD predicts heavy rainfall in Chennai, Chengalpattu and Tiruvannamalai. Rishabh Pant likely to replace injured Dinesh Karthik for the Adelaide match against Bangladesh tomorrow. KL Rahul expected to retain his place too. And ex-Brazil Prime Minister Jair Bolsonaro supporters stage violent protests, block roads after their leader's defeat in the elections. Bolsonaro yet to concede defeat or challenge the poll defeat. But our top story tonight. It's now 2 days after a bridge collapse killed at least 135 persons in Gujarat's Morbi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today visited the site of the tragedy, met many of those who were injured in hospital. Soon after his visit to the bridge, Mr. Modi expressed his condolences to the families as well as meeting the injured who were being treated in the hospital. PM Modi was seen asking the survivors about their health and assured them that justice would be done. A little after that, the Prime Minister chaired a high-level meeting to take stock of the probe. The Prime Minister has instructed the authorities to stay in touch with the victims' families to ensure them help. He also asked officials to conduct a thorough inquiry to nail the causes of the mishap. Now, hours before the Prime Minister visited the Morbi hospital, a political controversy has broken out because the entire facility suddenly got a makeover. From painting the walls to replacing beds in the wall, people worked through the night to give the hospital a new look ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. The opposition says this overnight makeover suggests the Gujarat government's misplaced priorities and was an attempt at event management. Also, several of the banners of Oreva were conveniently removed so that the Prime Ministers would not be seen in many of the photos with them. Tonight, our top story is just how Morbi is at the moment struggling to come to terms amidst the politics.
Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday walked into a hospital that looked a lot different from what it was on Monday evening. The authorities pulled out all stops to give the Morbi Civil Hospital a much-needed makeover ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. Workers burnt midnight oil, racing against time to spruce up the facility. The walls got a fresh coat of paint. New tiles were put in some areas. Old water coolers gave way to new ones. And new beds were brought into wards.
बेड है, हॉस्पिटल बेड नहीं लगाए गए हैं?
जी नहीं लगवाए, अभी 5 मिनट के पहले लगाए.
So clearly that there is what we can say the makeover of civil hospital, which is good thing for the residents of Morbi, but happening for a specific reason.
All this work needed to be completed in a few hours, which meant more hands were needed. So workers were called in from Rajkot.
રાતમાં ઝાડુ મારો છો તમે?
હા, અત્યારે સાફ સફાઈ માટે
રોજ સાફ સફાઈ થાય છે અહીંયા?
થાય જ ને.
रोज था है 11 बजता।
अभी तो हम राजकोट से आए हैं।
क्यों राजकोट से आए?
अभी तो साफ सफाई के लिए बुलाया है, इसलिए हम आए हैं।
The makeover, as evident, was hasty. Some work was left incomplete, like this water cooler that was not connected to any supply.
ये देखिए यहाँ पर पानी की बोतल लेकर आई है और ये वाटर कूलर यहाँ पर कल रात में ही लगाया है और उससे पानी भरने की कोशिश कर रही है, लेकिन इसमें से पानी नहीं आ रहा है। कब लगा है, कुछ पता चला आपको?
મને કાંઈ ખબર નથી કોણે લગાયા સિવિલના માણસોએ જ લગાયા છે
તમે કોશિશ કરી પાણી
કોઈ અમે ક્યાં કામ જ કરીએ છીએ પાણી ભરવા આવી
The hospital called the hasty facelift a routine exercise.
पीएम साहब की दौरे के मद्देनजर कुछ अलग से तैयारियां की गई, कुछ अलग से कुछ
नहीं, it is a routine activity. It is taking place everywhere in all government setup.
The opposition tore into the BJP, tweeting out pictures of the work, accusing the Gujarat government of misplaced priorities.
जब पूरा गुजरात गम में डूबा हुआ है, तब भारतीय जनता पार्टी का शासन मोरबी की सिविल हॉस्पिटल को रंग रोगान कलर काम करके सजा दरा रहा है, क्योंकि उनको ये लगता है कि इस तरह से इवेंट मैनेजमेंट करके मोदी जी खुश हो जाएंगे।
अभी तक 27 साल में जो ये सुविधाएं नहीं मिल पा रही है और गरीब लोग जितने भी है वो इतने साल से दुखित है और रातों रात जो पीएम मोदी के लिए जो ये काम चालू कर दिया गया है, तो ये लोग हमारी फीलिंग्स के साथ जो खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं ना, उससे हम लोगों को अभी तक दुख है।
The Gujarat BJP maintained silence on the issue. The Morbi bridge tragedy comes ahead of the assembly elections in the state. While the top leadership of the three parties in the fray have claimed that the disaster will not be politicized, one of the worst tragedies in recent times is bound to become an election issue. Will Mustafa Sheikh and Saurabh Bakhtania in Morbi. Bureau Report, India Today.
So is Morbi going to be an election year issue in Gujarat? Is there an attempt being made to cover up what really happened by the Gujarat government and protect a few people? Can the state government really be blamed for what is being seen primarily as local level negligence? To some of the questions, first a political face-off tonight. Jignesh Mevani is Congress MLA from Gujarat. Sanju Verma is BJP spokesperson. To you, Jignesh Mevani, first. There are two ways to look at what has happened. One is this is a moment of grief. People are hurting. The main focus of the government should be to ensure that the victims are taken care of, families are condoled with, which the BJP claims they are doing. Your party is claiming all of this is event management. How do you see it? Is it what you're saying, politics being played out also by the opposition? How do you see what has happened in the last 48 hours?
See, first of all, what has happened is extremely painful and unfortunate. We have lost more than 140, 150 lives. But the SIT, which is given the task to investigate the matter, is not having the non-corrupt officers. What happened in huge tragedy a few months back, if you remember, more than 70 people lost their lives. What happened with that probe? Exam paper keep getting leaked. Nothing is happening with those investigations. Drugs worth 2 lakh crore is seized from the Mundra airport. Nothing is happening with those investigations. So my apprehension is, if the government of Gujarat, the BJP government, is genuinely concerned about the victim's family, and we want to ensure that whether it is Morbi or any part of India, this kind of event, this kind of episode must not get repeated, then we should ensure free and fair investigation, which is possible only by an SIT in which we have officers with credibility.
No, how can, no, but Jignesh Mevani, you have prejudged the SIT. You are prejudging the SIT by saying that the officers don't have credibility. Don't you think you should at least allow the SIT to complete its work?
Yeah, because there are serious allegations. I won't name, but there are serious allegations against some of the members of the SIT. So even in the case of huge tragedy, they would suspend or transfer a constable or two. Nothing would happen to the range AG and the SP. The same way, even in this case, there is no mentioning of the MD or CEO or manager or owner of the Ajanta Oreva company. There is no mentioning of any of the senior bureaucrat. Who cracked the deal? What was the commission? This will bring out in public domain. This will be part of the investigation only when a genuine, not a convenient, a genuine SIT is formed.
Okay.
We can't do this. We have an apprehension.
Okay, let Sanju Verma respond. Sanju Verma, the Prime Minister, has gone to the site. He has condoled with the victims, all of which is laudable, which is done by most governments when something like this happens. But what Jignesh Mevani is saying, that the real issue is the investigation. The real issue is ensuring closure to the victim, which will only come when the guilty are punished. You look at the FIR. The FIR does not name any of the leading officials of Oreva. It does not name the civic administration which allowed the fitness certificate to take place for the bridge and allowed the bridge to be reopened, and some of them claim we didn't even know about it. This is a BJP-dominated Morbi administration. It's entirely BJP, all the corporators. These are the issues to tackle. Yes, meet the victims, condole with them, but you need closure. How do you respond?
You know, Rajdeep, you asked me many questions. I will, answer each one of them. I think you're absolutely right. The victims need a closure. The guilty need to be brought to book. And, any fish, big or small, be it from the Morbi Nagarpalika or be it from the Ajanta Oreva group or anybody else in the administration in the state, they need to be nailed to set an example. And one thing I can tell you with a lot of confidence...
So why are they not named in the FIR? No, 1 minute, ma'am. These are all... what you're saying sounds nice. Why are they not named in the FIR? No, why are they not named in the FIR? If you're saying... No, the fact is, the impression which is going out is there is an attempt being made to protect the corporators, the officials and the members of Oreva.
Rajdeep Sarsai,
yes,
are you the panelist or the anchor on the debate?
I have to ask you questions. My job is to ask you questions. Please do not intimidate me.
Listen to my answer.
Please.
Your job is not to give the answer to your question.
Please give the answer. That is my job. Please give the answer.
That is my job.
Please give the answer.
Your job is to ask the question. My job is to give you the response.
You're not giving me the response. Why are the main officials not named in the FIR?
Stop heckling me.
I'm not heckling you. I'm asking you a question. Ma'am, please.
Fine. You can continue talking. I refuse to speak because you are in love with your voice.
Ma'am, I am asking you a question. You do not wish to answer.
May I please respond?
Please do.
Can you have some patience?
I will wait to hear.
Can you please allow me a rebuttal?
Please do.
Thank you. I appreciate your kindness. I wanted to say a couple of things. What did I start by saying? Anybody who's responsible, I said even people from the Morbi Nagarpalika and the top brass of the Ajanta Oreva group, including the head of the Oreva group, Jaisukh Bhai Patel, let the Modi government and the state dispensation under Bhupendra Bhai Patel spare no one. But equally, there is an SIT that was constituted in less than 12 hours of the horrific incident that will come out with a report maybe in 24 or 48 hours. There is a forensic audit that is underway. And whether this was an act of negligence by the dispensation in the state, whether this was an act of sabotage by people close to the Aam Aadmi Party, or whether this was an accident, an act of God or act of fraud or act of sabotage, that will be known in less than 48 hours. And don't forget, Advocate Vishal Tiwari has also filed a PIL. He demands a judicial inquiry and the Supreme Court will hear that petition on the 14th of November.
According to Jignesh Mevani, this is going the pattern of the Hooch tragedy a few months ago. SIT appointed, but those genuinely, allegedly involved never get prosecuted. That's his claim, that this SIT is only being used as a smokescreen to protect the guilty. In the Hooch tragedy, the guilty were not arrested. The top people involved got away.
May I answer that? Rajdeep?
Yes.
Jignesh Mevani said a couple of things. It is his, right as a bona fide citizen and a resident of Gujarat to demand justice. I demand justice, because I think the 140 odd people who've lost their lives, somebody has to be held accountable. You can't say that the buck will, not stop at somebody's doorstep. The buck will have to stop at the doorstep of somebody, and accountability needs to be fixed. But I want to ask Jignesh Mevani, he keeps talking about transparency, accountability. What has he done for the Dalit Samaj, whom he represents? What has he done as a legislator for the people of Vadgaon? What has he done for the people of Saurashtra, which is one of the largest concentration of Dalit population, and he brings up Saurashtra before every election and then conveniently forgets about them? What has he done for the Mehsana district? Because he was born in a village in Mehsana district. What has he done for the people of Sabarkantha district? Because he brings up Sabarkantha also before every election.
You're making it personal. You're making it personal about Jignesh Mevani, but I will allow him to respond. Now I've heard you. Let him respond. Jignesh Mevani, she says, who are you to talk about Morbi? What have you done for your Dalit Samaj?
I have been fighting for the cause of Dalits and marginalized people for more than 12-15 years. And if you ask even BJP Karyakartas belonging to scheduled castes, they will trust me more than your elected representatives. So let us not go into that. Let us focus on the Morbi episode. My concern is simple. In the huge tragedy case, you formed an SIT, and the Botad, Bhavnagar, Amreli, and Ahmedabad district, where the huge tragedy happened. Again, the bootleggers have started selling liquor in each and every nook and corner of Botad and Ahmedabad, right? Why? Because proper inquiry never happened. Investigation never reached to its logical end. So if you really want to ensure that these kind of episodes don't happen again, we need a free and fair inquiry.
No, but Sanju Verma, Jignesh Mevani, Sanju Verma is saying howsoever high they be, will be punished. That is the assurance that she claims.
But you are not mentioning, but the FIR
No, you can't come in.
About the company. There was a contract between the Nagarpalika and the Oreva company. Why there is no mentioning of the MD or CEO owner of the company in the FIR itself? When you don't want to name them, obviously you don't want to arrest them. Right? I tweeted.
Please don't make frivolous allegations.
No, that's true. No, Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, the truth is that they are not named in the FIR.
Why there is no FIR against the company? Why there is no FIR against the owner of the company? Why are you letting them go?
Sanju
Verma
wants
to know. The people of Morbi and the people of Gujarat want to know why there is no mentioning in the FIR.
Listen to my response.
No. You answer a direct question now, Sanju Verma. The FIR as it is at the moment does not name the senior officials of Oreva, does not name the municipal corporators who are guilty of criminal negligence, that a bridge was reopened, the fitness certificate was not in place. Why are they not named? Is that where the elections come in? That before a major election, you do not want to beyond a point embarrass yourself?
Rajdeep, BJP is in power in Morbi Nagarpalika. BJP is in power in Gujarat. BJP is in power in Central. Still there is no proper investigation. Still there is no proper FIR.
No, Sanju Verma, he is entitled to speak.
I don't wish to debate if you cannot control this other panelist who is ranting needlessly.
Just a minute, Sanju Verma. No, what you are calling a rant are questions. People have a right. Every time someone asks a question, it's not a rant.
I don't have the right to respond on your show.
Please respond. You have not answered the question. Why are none of these people who you say will be prosecuted named in the FIR?
May I please respond to that?
Yes, please.
Rajdeep Sarsai, there is a manner in which justice is carried out. There is an FIR that is filed. There is a trial. There is a charge sheet that is prepared. And the SIT Pro comes up with recommendations as to what exactly happened. And let me be very honest with you. The Prime Minister himself has said, forget anybody else, he himself today said that there are a lot of takeaways and learnings from this horrific episode and no one will be spared. And I think Narendra Modi, when he says that, there are no ifs or buts when the Prime Minister made that statement. If anybody from the Ajanta Oreva group needs to be nailed, they will be nailed.
Okay.
And section 304, 308, 114, these are serious sections pertaining to culpable homicide which have been filed. So, let us not try and jump the gun. And Mr. Mevani, I want to ask you, તમે પાછલા 5 વર્ષોમાં દલિત સમાજ ઉદ્ધાર માટે શું કર્યું છે? તમે પાછલા 5 વર્ષોમાં વડગામના લોકો માટે શું કર્યું છે? અમારી સરકારને કોંગ્રેસ પાર્ટીની સર્ટિફિકેટની જરૂરત નથી. We don't need a certificate from you, Mr. Mevani.
Okay.
There is a bona fide probe that is being conducted. And one thing, Rajdeep, I just want to correct. The whole media has been saying, I'm not a spokesperson for the Ajanta Group. But the whole media has been saying this is just a wall clock manufacturing company. That is wrong. This is a conglomerate involved in construction, transportation, real estate, textiles, and they were also maintaining the bridge from 2008 to 2018.
They had subcontracted this particular work to another company.
Yes,
we are not the fact at the end of the day. Okay, ma'am, you made your point. One final question, Jignesh Mevani. Would you concede that this is not going to beyond the point be an election issue? There are those who are saying that the opposition will try and suggest that this represents the failure of the Gujarat model, represents the failure of Narendra Modi ji, represents the failure of Bhupendra Patel, of Amit Shah. At the end of the day, isn't it local level negligence? Why should in every such instance the Prime Minister and the Gujarat model be dragged in?
Because this is the Gujarat model of corruption and commission. Without the transaction of money, without money being involved, why a company which has no record, which has no history, which has no expertise, competence, experience of building or renovating bridges, why are they given this job of renovating the Morbi bridge?
Is this man insane?
No, please do not intervene, ma'am.
Isn't this an obvious question? Isn't this an obvious question?
Allow him to get away by making frivolous allegations.
No, that is...
Why are you trying to sue the company?
The Gujarat government
Has
is an
your
honest
party
government.
received
There is a horrific
money
tragedy.
from the
Let
company?
there be a fair
Okay. Sanju Verma, I have to mute your voice now. Because I asked him a question, you are answering it. But I ask you again, Jignesh, is this an election issue?
Whether it is, I don't care about election issue. This is about ensuring justice.
Okay.
It must not happen again. Why a company which has no experience of building or renovating bridge is given this task? It is playing with the lives of the ordinary citizen, which we can't allow. It must not happen.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Jignesh. You've had your say. Sanju Verma has had. As I said, our aim is to ensure justice and accountability. We will track what the SIT actually does in this case. But for now, I appreciate both of you joining me here on the news today. So what is the legal liability involved in cases of criminal negligence? Remember, in this country, there are many such accidents. There are fires, there are bridge collapses. Do they actually result in the guilty being punished? As there is this shock and fury over the 135 deaths, 9 people so far have been arrested and charged with culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Most of them are security officials, local level officials. Oreva owner not among those arrested, nor are any of the civic administration officials at a senior level being arrested. So who should be held responsible? What about the big fish? What are the laws in this country when it comes to criminal negligence? Take a look.
The man on your screen is Jaishukhbhai Patel, the owner of Oreva, the company which renovated the 140-year-old suspension bridge in Morbi. He inaugurated the bridge on October 26th, a week before it collapsed. While 9 people have been arrested by the Gujarat police, Oreva owner is on the run. Among the 9 who have been arrested are 2 ticket clerks, 2 managers, 2 repair contractors and 3 persons working at the bridge as security personnel, all employed by Oreva Group. The FIR, however, does not identify any person. While the small fish are in the police net, the big fish are absconding. Oreva's Ahmedabad office is shut. Its owner's Morbi flat is deserted. Patel's farmhouse in Ahmedabad is locked. This begs the question, does the law have enough teeth to ensure justice in cases like these? Constitutional experts say that the law allows for both civil liability in form of compensation and criminal action against the persons responsible.
There is no absence of provisions in criminal law to cause wrongful death, criminal negligent act and so on. And even an act akin to causing the death of people on a large scale, there is no absence of provision. There is only absence of political intent.
the persons who were responsible for allowing those people to enter, those who are responsible for charging money. So all these people have to now undergo some kind of an investigation.
Lawyers also say there is need to strictly implement the civil law so that the company responsible has to pay the victims.
Specifically, as far as infrastructure projects and civil contractors are concerned, I think it's time that we have a specific law which deals with the civil liability aspects and makes it summary and immediate payments to the victims.
Sections invoked in the Morbi FIR attract jail terms up to life term. The truth in such cases take years. A case in point is Upha tragedy, in which Ansal brothers were sentenced to 2 years in jail for negligence after nearly 2 decades of court battles. With Anisha Mathur in New Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
So why doesn't an FIR in cases like this name top company bosses? Is that usual practice? What about the municipal officials? Should they be let off the hook? Is the law simply toothless in cases like Morbi beyond a point? Does this country need new laws for cases of negligence? Those are the questions that we will raise. Dushyant Dave, senior advocate, will join us in a moment. Also joining us is Aryama Sundaram from the Supreme Court, senior advocate. Aryama Sundaram, in cases of criminal negligence like this, we saw in the Ansal case, for example, Upar fire tragedy, the Ansal owners were prosecuted. Do you believe that that is the right way to go? Do you believe that criminal negligence in this should focus only on those immediately involved in the act of negligence at the local level, as the FIR seems to suggest?
Rajdeep, let's understand one thing. To deal with situations like this, there is enough teeth that the law has. There is no doubt that there is enough teeth to deal with it. The problem really lies as to whether those teeth will be used to fight. Because if the powers that be who are to go through with this prosecution decide not to bite, it's no use having the teeth in the first place. Now, the fact of the matter is, every single person, according to me, who in any way had a role in that bridge opening, directly or indirectly, for example, if tomorrow it can be shown that the owners of Oreva or municipal officer or anybody else was aware that without the certificate required, without the clearances required, the bridge was being opened, they would all be liable to be proceeded against. And there is no question that will happen.
No, so you're saying if the bridge was reopened without a fitness certificate, then it isn't just the local level officials, but even the top brass, which has to be held accountable under criminal negligence?
Who all were aware of the bridge being opened without a certificate. Let's understand there's a difference between civil liability and criminal liability. Civil liability brings in what's known as vicarious liability. For example, the government of Gujarat may have had no role to play with it. But if it is a civil action, you can say that the government is vicariously liable for the actions of its officers and can demand compensation. But in criminal law, there cannot be vicarious liability. So the way the liability is shown is who all had a role to play. The role to play could be by either actively participating in it, or through negligence and extreme dereliction of duty in not preventing something which they had within their compass to prevent. That is why I said the course of investigation will disclose as to which of the officers who could have prevented this from happening were aware that the bridge was being used without such a certificate, without it being declared safe. All the officers who knew about it and had it in their power to prevent, they would all be liable. Now, the purpose of this FIR, let us understand, I am not absolutely disappointed in the FIR like others are, for the only reason that this is an FIR which the FIR is nothing more than stating the incident which happened. If people are named, you name the people who on the face of it are involved with what is happening. But the purpose of investigation is to find out what exactly happened, who all are culpable, and more people can be included within the gamut of the law, within the gamut of criminal proceedings, if it is shown in the course of investigation. Not being named in the FIR does not foreclose the issue. So the FIR is the starting point of an investigation. And I believe that every single person who had either a role directly to play or had it in their power to prevent, knowing that the certificate was not there, did nothing, took no steps to prevent it, they all would be liable to be proceeded against.
So
and so far as vicarious civil liability is concerned, I believe it extends further, even whether it's in knowledge or not knowledge of the government. The government would have to answer for the actions of its officers also in civil liability.
You know, I just want to ask you one question very simply. Our criminal negligence laws compared with the rest of the world, are they strong enough?
Are you putting that question to me?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Our laws are strong enough. Like I said, our laws have the teeth. We have the teeth. But are the officers willing to use the teeth and bite? That is the point.
You know, that in a way, therefore, is what you're saying is it comes down then to intent. Am I clear? That the laws are tough enough, but there is no intent to prosecute. What is the maximum punishment in your view that can be given in a case like this?
In a case like this, you can give rigorous imprisonment for a year, 7 years, 10 years, according to me.
That you're saying 7 years to 10 years. As we've seen, those cases like this can drag on for years. Criminal negligence cases, even in the Uppar tragedy, it's taken what? It took almost well over a decade before this matter went through various courts and eventually reached a solution. Are we looking, therefore, that it is only if those who are willing to carry on this battle over the long haul? Now, the Morbi victims may not have the kind of facilities to carry out a long battle. So, is it to be done by the state or the victims?
Of course, it's to be done by the state. In this case, if it is a case after the Pereira case especially, it is not merely causing death by a negligent act. If the negligence is so large, so culpable, it becomes culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Now, those cases are prosecuted by the state. These are not a private complaint. They are to be prosecuted and the state has to take all action in it. The complainants cannot be anything more than perhaps witnesses if they witness what happened. But so far as the prosecution is concerned, it has to be the state.
So you're saying that the state has to now, in the case of Morbi, carry on this prosecution and carry it to a logical conclusion. Am I correct?
Yes, and I believe a case like this, given the enormity, the gravamen of what has happened, a number of people have been affected, should be put on a fast track and should be completed on a fast track. We are aware of laws delays in India, but we are also aware that where there is a will, there's always a way, and there are many cases which have been put on a fast track and which have been completed soon.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. What you're saying, therefore, is the FIR is only a preliminary step. You remain hopeful that the next step would be taken to its logical conclusion by actually prosecuting those who in any way may have been aware that the bridge perhaps did not have the necessary fitness certificates or did not maintain the necessary safety standards. Am I correct?
And who had it in their power to stop it. It's no use saying that the clerk in the office was aware of it. The clerk in the office could not have stopped the action. I'm talking about those who were aware and had the power to stop what happened.
Let me leave it there. Mr. Aryaman Sundaram, I appreciate your joining us. Dushyant Dave, all I can say, it's unfortunate that you did not join us. We were 5 minutes late with our earlier discussion, but I must say this therefore on national TV, that we expected you also to come in and have your word. You've chosen not to do so. I don't know what to say. So unfortunate that you did not join our debate here today on the legal aspects of this case. Let's turn, therefore, to the Good Samaritans, because while in Morbi 135 people have died, a number of people have stood up to be counted. The death toll in Morbi could have been much higher if not for the brave citizens who plunged into the Machu River to save people. Their rescue efforts, in fact, began a long time even before the NDRF reached the site. It's the joint effort by citizens and government officials that saved many, many lives. Tonight's special report is on the unsung heroes of Morbi.
What was supposed to be a fun weekend with family and friends on the Jhulto Pul in Morbi's Gujarat turned out to be a tragedy for over 400 people, with more than 130 of them dead. Long before the NDRF reached the accident site, rescue efforts were already on. Many locals rushed to the spot and jumped into the river fearlessly in a bid to save as many people as they could. Ajay and Pankaj were two such saviors.
पुल जो है लचक रहा था सर.
कौन लोग थे जो कह रहे थे कि मत जाओ, भीड़ आगे जा?
हमारे ही लोग थे सर.
महिलाएं थी ज्यादा, औरतें थे या बच्चे ज्यादा?
बच्चे महिलाएं सब लोग था ज्यादा, लेकिन बच्चे लोग ज्यादा था. बच्चे लोग को दो लोग को कान पे मैं टांग कर ऊपर लाए.
अभी भी मेरे सब सर में और आंखों में यही दिखता है मैडम.
Tawfiq's daughter was one of the victims. While she was admitted to hospital, Tawfiq stayed back to help other victims.
बच्चे तो कम से कम मैंने 30 से 35 बच्चे थे. कुछ औरतें थी, लड़कियों थी जो 16 से 18 साल की थी. इसमें मैडम धर्म देखना ही नहीं चाहिए मैडम. धर्म कोई सेवा करने में कोई धर्म देखना ही नहीं चाहिए मैडम. मेरा तो यही अकीदा है.
Naeem Sheikh lost his friend and was himself injured in the bridge collapse, but he joined the rescue efforts.
2-3 दोस्त थे. 2-3 दोस्त जान को दाव में लगा के चला गया. कुछ भी हो जाए बचाना तो चाहिए. पहले तो 20-25 बच्चे को पहले बचाया.
5 बजे भी जब डेड बॉडी निकाल रहे थे.
A tea seller by the name of Raju spent the whole night tirelessly working to save lives.
मेरी लाइफ में 10 बच्चे लाया, इसमें एक लड़का जिंदा है.
Many unsung heroes, along with NDRF personnel, rescued over 170 people. The heroes of Morbi will be remembered for their selfless service. With Ashutosh Mishra and Gopi Manyar, in Morbi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's therefore today pay tribute and salute those brave people of Morbi who have gone out of their way to help others. They are the true heroes, in a sense, of Morbi. Let's turn from there to our Get Real India story, and it comes around the centre's Agniveer scheme that has found thousands of aspirants in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh in spite of initial protests and apprehensions. More than 44,000 people in Madhya Pradesh, 95,000 in UP have registered for the scheme. Take a look at this report.
Despite initial protests and apprehensions over Agniveer's short tenure of service, thousands of youth in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh are signing up for the mega recruitment drive. There are over 44,000 applicants from Madhya Pradesh alone.
ये बताएं, आप कब से तैयारी कर रहे थे?
सर 2 साल से.
2 साल से.
हाँ.
तो आपने तो फौज की तैयारी की होगी, अभी अग्निवीर हुई है.
हाँ सर की.
इसमें तो सिर्फ 4 साल की नौकरी है.
हाँ सर 4 साल की है, लेकिन कुछ इंडिविजुअल फायदे भी हैं, नुकसान भी है सर. तो जिससे मतलब देश के लिए करना है सर, वो तो फायदे के लिए नहीं करेगा, देश के लिए ही करेगा.
The aspirants turned up at the Bhopal parade ground today in the early hours. When asked about the changes in service terms, there were mixed reactions.
जिनकी उम्र निकल गई वो खुद कर रहे थे दंगा, मतलब 25 साल का हो गए वो भी कर रहे थे दंगा. बाकी जिनकी उम्र है वो तो कर ही नहीं रहे थे, वो तो सब भड़काव था.
4 साल की नौकरी के चक्कर में ना ये सब बेकार है, क्योंकि इसकी मेहनत जो 4 साल तो मेहनत ही लग जाती है हमको नौकरी में अग्निवीर बनने के लिए. 4 साल लग जाती है हमको कि हम क्या करें सर. इसके बाद अगर हम 4 साल के लिए लग भी जाते हैं, इसके बाद हमारा स्टार्टअप क्या रहेगा, आप बताइए ना क्या रहेगा. इसके बाद क्या करेगा अग्निवीर वाला क्या चाय बेचेगा.
Registrations are soaring in Uttar Pradesh as well. From 13 districts, over 95,000 youth have signed up for the recruitment drive. Sleeping on the footpath at night before recruitment rally, The youth said Agniveer will help them realize their childhood dream to serve the nation.
बेरोजगारी तो है सर, लेकिन वो अलग बात हो गई। बेरोजगारी तो कहीं भी साल हो सकती है, कहीं भी मजदूरी करके किस कंपनी में, लेकिन आर्मी का इसमें सर जाने का रुतबा ही कुछ अलग है।
While the aspirants may be wary of the short tenure under Agniveer's scheme, the huge turnout indicates that it is not stopping them from joining the armed forces. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's take a break at this point. When we return, we are turning to our good news today story. India shines at the World Scrabble Championships. We'll have joining us some of our Scrabble heroes. They'll tell us more on the other side of what it takes to be a Scrabble champion. Those are the two young people joining me in a moment. Delhi's Madhav Gopal Kamath, who finished second. Bangalore's Samarth Manchali, who emerged as the under-10 champion. Back in a moment. You're watching the news today.
India Today Conclave, November 4th and 5th, Mumbai. Listen to Nitin Gadkari, Eknath Shinde, Kiran Rijiju, Devendra Fadnavis, Aditya Thackeray, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Abhishek Bachchan, Varun Dhawan, Huma Qureshi, Vikram S. Gandhi, J. Sai Deepak, Neha Naikwade. Book your seat now. Visit www.indiatodayconclave.com. Conclave Mumbai 22.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
बीजेपी बात करती है कांग्रेस मुक्त भारत की। यहाँ शिमला में तो आपने कांग्रेस का ही ऑफिस को बीजेपी का ऑफिस बना दिया।
4 वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट में से 2 वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट कांग्रेस के यहाँ पर आ जाए तो कांग्रेस छोड़ो यात्रा में तो दफ्तर भी छोड़ कर गए। उनको पता है कौन आने वाला है,
पर उससे कहीं ना कहीं बीजेपी के कार्यकर्ताओं में नाराजगी भी है कि ये बाहर वालों को ले आते हैं फिर हमारे साथ में बैठा देते हैं। हम क्यों इनको टॉलरेट करें?
जो बाहर से आता है हमारी विचारधारा को भी जानने का अवसर मिलता है, हमारे कामकाज को देखता है और उसको विश्वास होता है कि जब हमने 8 साल पहले कहा था भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त शासन देंगे, सुशासन युक्त सरकार देंगे।
Welcome back. Tonight we have a good news story. India's children have shone at the World Youth Scrabble Championships. Delhi's Madhav Gopal Kamath finished second. Bangalore's Samarth Manchali emerged as the under-10 champion. Mumbai's Pramit Rao finished 6th. So India was all over the World Scrabble Championship. And therefore we thought it's a good day to bring in 2 of our Scrabble champions. Joining us now, Samarth Manchali from Bengaluru, under 10 champion at the World Youth Scrabble Championship, and Madhav Gopal Kamath, who finished second at those championships. Thank you both so much for joining us. First to you, Samarth. How are you feeling to become a world champion at under 10?
I'm feeling very excited.
You're feeling very excited. Okay, great to have you on the show. And is this the first time you're on TV, or you've been on TV before?
This is the first time I am on TV.
Okay. And what is the longest Scrabble word you had while winning the championship? Do you remember the longest word you put together?
Yes. The longest word I remember is thinners. THINNERS for 97 points.
Repeat that for me again.
Okay, THINNERS, thinners.
Thinners. And how many points was that worth? 97?
Yes.
Wow, I don't remember last when I got 97 points in Scrabble. Well done, Samarth. To you, Madhav Gopal. You were last year also on my show. I think you did very well last year as well. So you're a double winner, right? Last year you came second, again second this time?
Yes, sir.
Tell us, tell us about how you started, Madhav, in this world of Scrabble. How old are you?
I'm currently 12 years old.
Okay.
I was introduced to Scrabble by my father and my uncle. I started playing when I was around 5 years old. My father and uncle are both very good players, and the game looked quite interesting, so I decided to start playing.
Okay. And how do you practice for a world championship like this?
I've been mentored by a senior Scrabble player from Malaysia this year, along with a few other of the youth Scrabble players from India. It helps a lot with it, and reading books also helps a lot because it improves your vocabulary.
And you do this in your off time, Madhav, playing Scrabble, or you do it in between even your lunch break in school?
Off time at home one day, not during school.
Not in school? Are you allowed to? Yeah, you can take your Scrabble board to class or not?
No, not really.
Samarth, what age did you start playing Scrabble?
At the age of 7.
At the age of 7, you started playing Scrabble. Wow. And what is it about Scrabble that you like?
Playing bingos, taking scores, high scores, about 30-40 points. Strategies, winning.
And who did you defeat in the finals? From which country? Which country?
I defeated Shreyas,
okay.
A fellow player from India.
In the final, you defeated Shreyas, a fellow player from India. It looks like, Madhav, Indians are very good at Scrabble, no?
Yes. India is one of the strongest countries in Scrabble generally.
So who came first in your under 14?
Actually, that's not how the format works. The format, all the under 18 players play together. So there's no separate age brackets.
Oh, so they all play together. I just wanted to ask you, though, that now that you're a Scrabble champion, what next are you going to do, Madhav? What do you want to become one day?
I'm not really sure. I'm going to come back harder next year and try and win this thing, I hope.
You first want to win the Scrabble Championship. Samarth, what do you want to become when you grow older?
Playing Scrabble with other people from other countries.
You want to keep playing Scrabble with other people from other countries. Well, look, yes. I hope that both of you become Scrabble, continue to take India's name higher and higher in the world of Scrabble. And maybe we can have a competition between Madhav, Samarth and me. Who's going to win?
Me.
Okay. Madhav, is Samarth going to defeat you also now? Are you ready for a challenge?
Yes, sir. So it's very much possible, sir.
Okay, and I'll join you also. But all the very best to you. God bless. Madhav, Samarth, wonderful to have you on the show. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's turn from there to another good news today story. For the first time in the history of Chennai's Institute of Mental Health, 2 residents tied the knot. Our Good News Today story is about Deepa and Mahendran, who met each other at the institute and later fell in love. Here's wishing them the very best. Take a look.
A first in over 200 years at the Chennai Institute of Mental Health. Two residents tie the knot in the presence by their near and dear ones. Deepa and Mahendran met each other when they were undergoing rehabilitation after battling mental health issues. They were strangers but formed a bond and shared a dream of building a new life together.
Started when I was working in daycare. I was helping patients in order to make tailoring, in order to do tailoring, in order to do candles and purses, jute bags, so on. And it happened one fine day, Deepa came to our center as a client. And the first day itself I saw her, she was very caring, she was taking care of the patients very well. And she was also taking care of everybody politely, courteously. That moved you on, and I didn't wait for a second. I went and approached her and I said that, Madam, I'm in love with you, can we get married?
Deepa was hesitant at first. But as the days passed by, she got comfortable.
தருணங்கள் தான் என்ன அவர் மேல அன்பு காட்ட ஆரம்பிச்சது. எங்க அப்பா இருந்து என்னை எப்படி கவனிச்சுப்பாரோ அந்த அளவுக்கு அதை விட மேல என்ன கவனிச்சுக்கிட்டாரு. ரொம்ப அன்பா பாத்துக்கிட்டாரு. நான் உடம்பு சரியில்லாதப்ப ரொம்ப கேரிங்கா இருந்தாரு. எனக்கு நான் வாய் திறந்து எனக்கு இது வேணும் அது வேணும்னு கேட்காததுக்கு முன்னாடியே அவர் எனக்காக நிறைய செஞ்சிருக்கிறாரு.
For the director of IMH, Purna Chandrika, it is a story of hope and optimism, and why not?
It's a very heritage building, shall we say, a hospital which is more than 228 years old. It came in the English period and is known as one of the asylums, the Asia's second largest. But at the same time, we are moving with times. And when we move with times, the regulations have changed, the rules have changed, and we are now into the new era of Mental Health Care Act 2017.
Mahendran and Deepa have been each other's anchors in their journey towards healing. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's turn from there to the big sports story, because India all set to take on Bangladesh in Adelaide tomorrow in a clash that could take India, victory could take India into the semi-finals. All eyes, among others, will be on KL Rahul, with coach Rahul Dravid today backing the Indian opener. Virat Kohli has given some valuable tips too to the opener who's out of form. Take a look.
Team India can see the door to the semi-finals, but there's still a fair bit of distance to cover. And first up, standing between that door and Team India would be Bangladesh, who are desperate to cause an upset.
India is the favorite team. They came here to win the World Cup. We are not favorite, and we didn't came here to win the World Cup. So you can understand the situation, and we know it very well. If we win against India, it will call an upset, and we'll try to play our best cricket, and we'll try to make an upset.
The biggest of worries at the moment for the Indian team is KL Rahul. Ahead of the clash against Bangladesh, the opener spent some valuable time at the nets and also some words of wisdom from Virat Kohli during the practice in Adelaide. Despite a string of low scores, the team continues to throw its weight behind KL Rahul.
I think he's a fantastic player, and he's got a proven track record. He's done really well. I thought he's been batting superbly. And these things can happen, I think, in a 2020 game sometimes, you know. So he's actually playing really well. And I'm just hoping it all clicks together over the next 3 or 4 games. And we know his quality, we know his ability, and he's really well suited for these kind of conditions, these kind of pitches. He's got a good all-round game. He's got a very good strong back foot game, which is obviously very much required in these conditions.
India may have to rejig their playing combination for the game in Adelaide, which traditionally is more suited for spinners. Bangladesh may start as underdogs against the Indians, but it's the men in blue who stand to lose more, especially when the opposition knows they have nothing to lose.
I think we respect them a lot. I think they're a very good team. I think this format and this World Cup has really shown us that honestly you can't take any team lightly. And no, we certainly don't take Bangladesh lightly. Our preparation, our planning, will be as meticulous as it was against South Africa at Perth. No different.
Virat may not have got runs in the last game, but he and Suryakumar Yadav look to be the two informed batters in the Indian team. For India to do well, they would surely need runs from the top, not just from KL Rahul, but also from Rohit Sharma. In the bowling department, Arshdeep has been a standout. In two big games, first against Pakistan and then South Africa, he has been responsible for giving India the early breakthrough. However, overs in the middle where India have been unable to pick wickets consistently have hurt their plans, resulting in runs at the death. India have had the time to regroup and reassess their plans after the loss to the Proteas. Now in the cold and windy Adelaide, it's time to execute them and get the job done. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Let's hope that our team this time goes all the way, beats Bangladesh, but also lifts the cup. Let's leave you though with our image of the day. It's coming in from Chennai, where there is not so good news. Heavy rainfall has led to a deluge in several parts of Chennai. The city is experiencing light to heavy rainfall, waterlogging in several parts of the country. In light of the recent weather, a holiday has been declared in schools in many districts. But as we can see with city after city in this monsoon season, we've had waterlogging. Of course, this is Chennai's time to get their monsoon, and the city is struggling to cope up with the heavy rains. We wish the citizens safe journeys, and you, the viewer, stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri, Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Remember them? Amber Heard and Johnny Depp have both been busy with their lives ever since the defamation trial. And everything seems to be going quite well for Johnny. He's returning to movies with the role of King Louis XV in Jeanne du Barry, has found love in his former lawyer, Joel Rich, and recently made 20 times the profit for his Queensland mansion. This isn't just any house, but it is the place where the infamous incident of Depp losing his finger took place. Amongst the many fights that were mentioned in court of the former couple, this incident was one to stick out quite a bit. He sold this mansion in Australia for $40 million. The house had 10 rooms with 10 bathrooms and a wine cellar with a capacity of 2,000 bottles, along with a go-karting ground within that premises. To get into the details of this infamous incident, Heard had been throwing bottles at the actor, 2 bottles in fact, the second one resulting in a cut finger. Amber Heard did not agree to this version and said that Johnny Depp had instead been throwing those bottles due to anger, and that's how he cut his own finger. The incident has taken place in 2015 and has been brought up in trial multiple times. Now, as the dust settles on the defamation trial, Johnny Depp has been seen doing quite a lot of concerts with his close friend Jeff Beck. And Amber Heard, on the other hand, is peacefully living her life in Spain. She will be seen next in Aquaman 2.
BBC, हर पल आपके साथ।
Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar's big charge against the Aam Aadmi Party. Sukesh Chandrasekhar's bombshell letter to Delhi's Lieutenant Governor. The conman claims he gave the Aam Aadmi Party 50 crore for a Rajya Sabha seat. He gave Satyendra Jain, Aam Aadmi Party minister, 10 crore for protection in jail. Arvind Kejriwal laughs off the conman's charge.
Controversy about this allegations about this conman called Sukesh Chandrasekhar.
कौन है वो? Super conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar conned in jail. That's our top focus on India First.
The allegations are grave. Sukesh Chandrasekhar has alleged he met the Aam Aadmi Party minister Satyendra Jain inside prison and was directed to pay 10 crore as protection money and convenience money. But the question remains, is there corroborative evidence and is there a money trail? The Aam Aadmi Party has also questioned the timing of these disclosures. They're calling it diversionary tactics. Also on India First, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Morbi suspension bridge collapse site and the Morbi civil hospital. He met victims, he met the next of kin of those killed in the Morbi disaster. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We will get to the latest on this big story, but as always, let's get started with the headlines at 10. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Morbi meets victims and visits the accident site. Prime Minister chairs the review meet, assures victims justice will be done. Politics explodes over hospital paint job. India Today tracks the firm behind the collapse. Top Oreva officials are missing. Oreva boss Jaisukh Patel's house deserted, offices shut since Diwali. Air quality deteriorates across the national capital region. Several locations are turned hazardous. Quality of air to remain very poor to severe in the next 1 week. War of words erupts over stubble burning. Bharat Jodo Yatra in Telangana stirs a political face-off. Rahul Gandhi mocks Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's national ambition. Son KTR hits back, says Rahul couldn't even win from his seat Amethi. Controversy erupts ahead of bypolls in Telangana. Violence on the last day of campaigning. BJP convoy attacked by TRS. Police resort to lathi charge. Sensational allegations have been levelled against the Aam Aadmi Party's Minister Satyendra Jain by controversial conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. In a handwritten letter to Delhi's Lieutenant Governor, Sukesh Chandrasekhar has claimed he met Satyendra Jain in prison and was directed to shell out 10 crore rupees as protection money. He claims he also paid another 50 crore for a Rajya Sabha seat. But the question remains, is there corroborative evidence for these tall claims? And is Satyendra Jain now fast becoming Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's Achilles heel? Munish Pandey with our top story.
He's pulled off one of the most sensational con jobs in Indian history, siphoning off hundreds of crores. And now the super con man has been conned, or so he claims. Sukesh Chandrasekhar, in a scathing 2-page letter, has claimed he was conned of 60 crore by Aam Aadmi Party and jailed Minister Satyendra Jain. In his handwritten letter to Delhi LG Saxena, Sukesh has said that he paid 10 crores to the jail minister to Satyendra Jain and also 50 crores to Aam Aadmi Party for a Rajya Sabha berth from South. Sukesh then has alleged that Satyendra Jain even met him in jail several times. Sukesh claims he is being harassed to withdraw the serious charges that he's levelled against Aam Aadmi Party and so wants the LG to crack the whip.
Both Sukesh Chandrasekhar and Satyendra Jain, they have been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in different cases. But also one of the serious allegation about bribery to Delhi minister, that fact is still being verified by the Enforcement Directorate because whether Sukesh Chandrasekhar has access to that amount of money, whether the money moved from someone to Satyendra Jain or not.
India Today spoke to Sukesh's lawyer, who confirmed that the conman believes his life is in danger now and is facing threats from Aam Aadmi Party.
It's a matter of corruption and extortion inside the jail. There is a racket inside the jail, and that is being run by the senior topmost officers of the jail in connivance with the as per the letter, this has been done in connivance with the jail mantri at that time, Satyendra Jain. Specifically, it has been alleged in the complaint that around 10 crore rupees was extorted by the Satyendra Jain.
Soon enough, the BJP lashed out at Aam Aadmi Party with an extortion party jibe and questioning if Kejriwal will continue to shield and defend Satyendra Jain.
I would not hitch to say that there is this person called Sukesh Chandrasekhar who is a con man, who was running a syndicate, a crime syndicate from inside the jail, while we have the Aam Aadmi Party and its ministers who are running a crime syndicate outside of the jail. It would not be an exaggeration if I say that Aam Aadmi Party is a con man party today.
And here's how Kejriwal responded.
Morbi से ध्यान भटकाने के लिए ये एक कंप्लीटली फिक्टिशियस, कंप्लीटली फर्जी स्टोरी एक प्लांट की गई है. मतलब इससे ज़्यादा ब्लेटेंट और क्या हो सकता है कि मोरबी के मुद्दे को दबा के उसको डाइवर्ट करने के लिए, और सक्सेसफुली डाइवर्ट कर दिया उन्होंने. सारे चैनल इस टाइम इस सुकेश चंद्रशेखर की बात कर रहे हैं, जबकि 150 लोग जिनकी मौत हो चुकी है उसका सब भूल चुके हैं.
With Gujarat elections round the corner, Kejriwal has claimed all this is nothing but an attempt to divert from the Morbi tragedy. With Munish Pandey and Anisha Mathur, Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today's Munish Pandey now joins me for more on the story. Munish has accessed Sukesh Chandrasekhar's handwritten letter to the Lieutenant Governor. Munish, Sukesh Chandrasekhar has levelled allegations against prison staff even earlier. Did he name the minister that time, or is there any corroborative evidence of either money changing hands or money being paid? Is any of this being investigated?
Well, as far as the letter of Sukesh Chandrasekhar is concerned, there are three main allegations. The first one is Satyendra Jain, who is a Delhi minister. He met Sukesh Chandrasekhar inside Tihar jail. That is allegation number one. As a minister, if he is meeting a prisoner, a person who is lodged in Tihar jail, it reflects very bad on the government, if the allegations are true. Number two is that he paid 10 crore rupees as protection money so that he is not harassed or ill-treated inside Tihar jail. That is allegation number two. The third is that while he was in Tihar jail, he was asked to pay protection money of 2 crore rupees. That is also an allegation made by Sukesh Chandrasekhar against Satyendra Jain. So these are the three main allegations against Satyendra Jain by the con man. Now, as far as this letter is concerned, remember it was written first of all on October 7. So far, the inquiry or investigation has not been ordered. But the allegations being very serious in nature, there is a high possibility that the Enforcement Directorate may take cognizance of this letter, because remember, they are already not only investigating Sukesh Chandrasekhar but also Satendra Jain in a money laundering case. So they may take cognizance of this later. The other possibility is that the LG may refer this case to any of the investigative agencies like CBI or Delhi Police to have a preliminary inquiry, and if there is any truth, then lodge an FIR in the case. Apart from that, what also is very interesting that Sukesh Chandrasekhar, remember, he stands accused in a money laundering case. Yes. He has extorted people in last few years of more than hundreds of crores of rupees. Okay. So whatever he is alleging, it has to be taken with a pinch of salt, because remember, in past he has made several allegations which were found not true. But this time, because it is against an Aam Aadmi Party leader and a Delhi minister who is still inside the Tihar jail, the allegations becomes very serious in nature. So only an inquiry can, reflect that whether the allegations are true or not.
Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. Now, the question is, who is Sukesh Chandrasekhar? What's his background? From what we know, he's an alleged con man. He hails from Bengaluru. He's from Karnataka. Sukesh Chandrasekhar is currently in Delhi's Tihar Central Jail for allegedly extorting money from very high-profile people. Some of them are celebrities. Now, Sukesh Chandrasekhar, as you can see in that picture, has several pictures with Bollywood stars, including Jacqueline Fernandez, also with Nora Fatehi. Apparently, apart from showering them with very expensive gifts, and these gifts included luxury cars, foreign trips, homes, gifts for their family, he also promised them big budget films. Now, these celebrities, some of them are also being questioned in connection with the 200 crore rupee mega extortion scam.
Sukesh Chandrasekhar, a 32-year-old millionaire based in Chennai, has now entered the annals of India's biggest con artists. From businessmen to politicians to celebrities, Sukesh has duped them all. Some with charm, many with threats. Those who have met Sukesh up and close have now told India Today TV that he leaves a lasting impression on people, even if he's met them just once. Getting rich was Sukesh's singular aim growing up in a lower middle-class family in Bengaluru. The real estate business was Sukesh Chandrasekhar's first target immediately after he left school. Passionate about cars, Sukesh used to even organize car races in his teenage. Impersonating and mimicking came easily to Sukesh Chandrasekhar, and this he used to enter into the world of crime. All of 17 years old, Sukesh started cheating people over phone, posing as a senior government official. In 2007, Sukesh posed as a very high-ranking bureaucrat and duped more than 100 people, promising jobs in the Bangalore Development Authority. In his teens itself, he began earning crores of rupees. His greed saw him get caught and arrested for the first time by Bengaluru police in 2007. But once out on bail, it was back to extorting money out of people. A huge Bollywood fan, in 2010, Sukesh started dating Leena Paulos, who had a blink and you miss it role in the movie Madras Cafe. The starlet soon became Sukesh's partner in crime, luring gullible people who her husband had conned. Sukesh then came under the scanner of central agencies in 2015. By then, he had moved to Mumbai with Leena and floated a Ponzi scheme. More than 450 investors deposited their money in his company, but only to be looted. Even as the law shadowed him, Sukesh kept going, posing as a bureaucrat of various ministries and even as an official of the court. The list of people he duped kept getting longer, his coffers overflowing with money. Ultimately, it was a complaint of politician TTV Dinakaran, who also had been cheated, and that sent Sukesh to Delhi's Tihar jail. At 32, Sukesh Chandrasekhar's crime journey has come to an end. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, ever since the Enforcement Directorate started probing the multi-crore extortion cases involving conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar, actress Jacqueline Fernandez has also been on the radar of the probe agencies. Sukesh Chandrasekhar is alleged to have pulled off a mega scam. Now, some argue it's more than 200 crore rupees. He is believed to have mimicked voices of top bureaucrats and officials to swindle people and then lavished expensive gifts, and not just on actor Jacqueline Fernandez. She too has repeatedly been called in for questioning by the agencies.
India Today has accessed Jacqueline Fernandez's full statement to the Enforcement Directorate, where she reveals how Sukesh conned her. Jacqueline told the Enforcement Directorate that Sukesh tried to get in touch with her in December 2020 and January 2021, but she did not respond to his calls. She then went on to say that Sukesh got in touch with her makeup artist, impersonating a call from Union Home Minister Amit Shah's office. Sukesh told Jacqueline's makeup artist that the actor must get in touch with him as he is an important person. When Jacqueline did contact Sukesh, he introduced himself as the owner of Sun TV. He also said he's from the political family of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha. Sukesh declared he was a big fan of hers and that she should do films in the South. He also told her that Sun TV had many projects lined up for her. After that, Jacqueline says she continued to stay in touch with Sukesh. In fact, when the alleged conman was out on parole, the two stayed at a hotel in Chennai. Sukesh had in fact chartered a private jet for Jacqueline Fernandez to fly and meet him at Chennai. Questioned by the Enforcement Directorate at least 4 times, Jacqueline Fernandez admitted that Sukesh gave a loan of $150,000 to Jacqueline Fernandez's sister in the United States of America. She also said Sukesh had transferred 15 lakhs into her brother Warren Fernandez's account in Australia, and that another 15 lakh rupees were delivered to Jacqueline Fernandez herself in person. She also said that Sukesh Chandrasekhar had bought a horse for her. A heady cocktail of crime, cinema and power. The Sukesh Chandrasekhar extortion files continue to unravel. With Munish Pandey, Bureau Report, India Today.
I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India First. 2 days after the suspension bridge collapsed, killed at least 135 people in Morbi in Gujarat, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the site of the tragedy this evening. After his visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met survivors of the tragedy at Morbi's civil hospital. He assured the survivors and the next of kin of some of those who'd been killed that justice will be done. India Today's Mustafa Sheikh is on ground zero. He sent us this report.
A day after the Gujarat bridge tragedy that killed over 130 people, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in grief-stricken Morbi. The Prime Minister visited the accident site, going to the exact spot where the cable snapped. He was briefing about the tragedy by the State Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi.
This is the place where exactly the Prime Minister was standing. He was observing the search operation and its process in the Morbi River. And this is where the Home Minister of State, Harsha Sanghvi, was briefing to the Prime Minister. The body language, and since the Prime Minister was listening more, speaking less, the body language, what one could anticipate that perhaps he was taking stock that how this incident would have unfolded, clearly be the negligence part.
From the accident site, Prime Minister went to the civil hospital where the injured are undergoing treatment. He interacted with the victims and expressed sympathy.
मैंने घटना सब बताई वो सुनता था सब हमारी घटना
क्या हुआ था?
नरेंद्र मोदी गौर क्यों करा कि पग में कैसा लगा है, कैसा है, तुम कैसे हो, अच्छा हो जाएगा.
He also held a high-level meet at Morbi's SP office, where SP, Deputy SP and IG briefed him about the ongoing investigation. Prime Minister Modi also met the Morbi heroes who carried out relentless relief and rescue operations. Before the Prime Minister's arrival in Morbi, the authorities covered the board of Oreva, the company behind Morbi Bridge's renovation and maintenance, now in the dock for flouting norms. Since the bridge collapse, the Prime Minister has expressed his anguish many times, at times turning emotional while paying homage to the victims.
शायद ही जीवन में बहुत कम ऐसी पीड़ा मैंने अनुभव की होगी. एक तरफ दर्द से भरा पीड़ित दिल है और दूसरी तरफ कर्म और कर्तव्य का पथ है.
The victims of the tragedy are expecting a fair compensation and want those behind the disaster to be brought to justice. And they are hoping Prime Minister Modi will ensure they get it. Bureau Report, India Today.
Justice. Will justice be done? 9 people have been taken into custody, but the questions that are being asked is, what about those who were tasked with the maintenance? Was there negligence? Was there, as some argue, just a paint job like at the hospital done even here at the bridge, at the suspension bridge? I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Mustafa Sheikh joining us with the latest on the story. Mustafa, you spoke to some of the patients, some of those who were injured. You spoke to the next of kin of those who were killed after the Prime Minister had met them. What is it that they expect of the Prime Minister, especially after a tragedy of this magnitude?
This was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first visit after the Morbi incident. He didn't only visit the accident site, hospital and met relatives of the victims of the crash, but also spoke with the authorities on the compensation. He made sure that victims' families should not suffer in getting compensation or any other treatment whatsoever they want. Also, a high-level meeting took place because there are still many unanswered questions in this crash, and also fixing the responsibility on the culprits is something which was discussed in the review meeting. So as of now, he has taken the first-hand experience of what had happened on the spot. He saw the survivors, met them, spoke with them. He has also assured the relatives of the victims of this crash that government of Gujarat, government of India will make sure that no such incident takes place in future. There are a lot of tragic stories in this incident which has taken place. There are many people who have lost young kids, and hence the answer they are seeking, the demand they want is that this incident should not be repeated in future so that people suffer like the way they have.
Mustafa, many thanks for joining me for the moment. But the question that you also raised, and as family members have been saying, what about those who were responsible for this? Oreva Group, the company responsible for the maintenance of the bridge, is under the scanner. Now, among the 9 people who've been taken into custody, 2 are ticket clerks, 2 are managers employed by Oreva. But what about the big fish? The Oreva bosses are still at large. India Today reached the farmhouse of the Oreva Group owner. India Today's Saurav Vaktania and a Gujarat bureau with this report.
26th October 2022. This is Jaisukh Bhai Patel, the chairman of Ajanta Oreva, inaugurating the Morbi Bridge. 4 days later, it collapsed, killing at least 135 people. The company responsible for the maintenance of the bridge is now under the scanner. Ajanta Manufacturing, belonging to the Oreva Group, a Gujarat-based electrical appliances manufacturer, famed for its Ajanta wall clocks, was awarded the bridge renovation project after obtaining the government tender. The Morbi Municipal Corporation and Ajanta Oreva Company signed the contract in March 2022 and it is valid till 2037. Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit to the accident site though, the hoarding proclaiming Oreva's name over the ill-fated bridge was mysteriously covered up.
There I see some soldiers from the Indian Army. These are of course the officials from the administration. They are covering up this company's name here. Do you see these clear images? It was now the name is being covered by this piece of cloth.
The police say technical and structural flaws, including maintenance issues, were responsible for the tragedy. Since the accident, the top bosses of Oreva have gone missing. India Today visited the offices of Ajanta Manufacturing in Ahmedabad. They've been closed since Diwali. Employees were supposed to return on Monday, but the doors here are still locked.
The main gates of these offices are locked since last 3 days, according to the nearby residents. Nobody is coming to the office after this incident. So when we contacted the local guards here and asked them why the doors are closed, he said that he is unaware of the fact that why the offices are not being opened.
The Ahmedabad residence of the company's owner is also locked.
His house is locked, and last time Jaisukh Patel came here during Diwali when the inauguration of the bridge had taken place. He has one residence in Ahmedabad also.
India Today even reached the farmhouse of the Oreva group owners.
वो ताला क्या हमेशा लगा रहता था यहाँ पे?
पहले तो नहीं लगा था, अभी शायद 10 दिन हो गया होगा ऐसा शायद। लेकिन क्या है, हम उधर रहते तो है नहीं, ध्यान तो होता नहीं है हमको।
अच्छा।
हम इधर ही काम, हमारा इधर काम चालू है ना, तो हम इधर ही काम करते हैं, कहीं इधर मालूम नहीं चलता है हमको।
So where is Jaisukh Bhai Patel? Among the 9 people who've been arrested are 2 ticket clerks, 2 managers, all employed by Oreva. The other 5 accused include 2 repairing contractors hired by the Oreva group and 3 persons working at the bridge as security personnel. The question is, what about the real big fish? When will justice for 135 deaths be delivered? With Jay Kishan and Mustafa Sheikh in Morbi, Gujarat, Bureau Report, India Today.
Questions must also be asked of the administration. What was the administration doing? For example, the superintendent of police. Why was crowd management so poor? What about the administration, the district magistrate? Why did they not know that this bridge was functioning for the past 5 days without clearances? We'll track that story. That is all I have for you on India First this evening. Coming up next is Abha Bakaya with Business Today. Stay with us.
India Today Conclave, November 4th and 5th, Mumbai. Listen to Nitin Gadkari, Eknath Shinde, Kiran Rijiju, Devendra Fadnavis, Aditya Thackeray, Dinesh Gundu Rao, Praniti Shinde, Dr. Kanimori NVN Somu, Alex Ellis, Swami Ram Gopal Das, Radhika Apte, Amit Saad, Naveen Kasturia, Sayami Kher, Vasan Bala. Book your seat now. Visit www.indiatodayconclave.com. Conclave Mumbai 22.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
अच्छा, एक चीज बताइए, क्रिकेट आपका पहला प्यार है या पॉलिटिक्स?
बड़ा मुश्किल सवाल कर दिया। क्रिकेट ही पहला प्यार है, क्योंकि क्रिकेट के माध्यम से ही राजनीति में आया। मैच में और चुनाव में ज़्यादा अंतर नहीं है। ये पिच धीमी है, ये बॉल उठती नहीं है तो भी आपके स्ट्रोक नहीं लगते, और चुनाव में भी मुद्दे कैसे हैं, माहौल कैसा है, उस पर बहुत फर्क पड़ता है।
Co-presented by CoinDCX, your gateway to crypto.
Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the day's top stories. Indices scale a 9-month high on hopes that US Fed will slow the pace of interest rate hikes, gains led by banking, IT and pharma companies. As markets hit a 9-month high, Udayan Mukherjee in conversation with market guru Prashant Kemka. Should you sell or is there more upside in the near future? Chinese-owned MG Motors under government scanner for alleged invoicing fraud. Managing director and Chinese officials in the company summoned by the Registrar of Companies. It's a bumper festive season for the economy. Auto sales scaled new highs as customers return to the showroom. GST collections above 1.5 lakh crore rupees, the second highest ever. Reserve Bank of India begins testing of the central bank digital currency. Dealers report a few glitches in bond transactions. Retail testing likely to begin next month. Indian indices closed at a 9-month high, driven higher by strength in global markets and expectations that the US Fed would slow its pace of interest rate hikes in the coming months. The Nifty 50 closed 133 points higher at 18,145, while the Sensex ended at 61,121, up about 375 points. Gains led by banking, IT and pharma names. Among the top gainers in the Nifty, Adani Enterprises, Divi's Labs, NTPC, Power Grid and Infosys, and strong moves at that. Nifty losers were led by Axis Bank, United Phosphorus, Eicher Motors, Maruti and Reliance. Just a few on that list today. Axis taking the primary brunt there. With major indices hitting these new high levels, what should be your next step? Is this the start of another rally? Earlier, Udayan Mukherjee and I spoke with Prashant Kemka of White Oak Capital. Here's an excerpt of that conversation.
Yeah, it's been a remarkably resilient market. Let me ask you if you're surprised with this kind of resilience, and more importantly, do you see it lasting?
Certainly. Diwali wishes to you and Abha as well, and thanks for having me on the show. So, Dan, if I can segment my comments into three aspects: the economy, the corporate, and the market, and look at these from the global as well as the Indian perspective. So, what's troubling? The global economy first. So 2 years or 2.5 years now ago, there was this, when COVID hit, the big worry was that we would have demand collapse, which would result in a supply glut. And that's why you had prices crashing and worries about deflation. That's why you had negative oil prices in the spot and so on and so forth. Very soon, the reality turned out to be barely any demand destruction, but in fact, there was supply disruption. And hence, inflation picked up. So the biggest worry or problem or issue the global economy has been grappling since then is inflation. Initially, it was expected to be transient because it was COVID-led supply disruption. So as COVID would pass through, the supply chains would fall back in place. Now that COVID disruption hasn't quite resolved itself because China, which is a major link in everybody's supply chain globally, is still enforcing a COVID zero policy, which is leading into feeding into the supply disruption. And while this was continuing, there was a much larger shock to and a supply, much major supply disruption that was due to Russia-Ukraine war. In many commodities, supply got cut down or
again, the disruptions caused long delays. So as a result, spanning over these 2 years now, inflation expectations have become more entrenched and can no longer be viewed as transient, and hence you see globally interest rates climbing, the longer term interest rates climbing, as well as the near term, the Federal Reserve Bank as well as other central bankers boosting near term interest rates to contain these inflation expectations from getting entrenched. Now, this is the global situation. In India, it's not being felt as badly because Indian inflation basket is quite a bit different from the US or European basket or global basket in general. So at times when we have high inflation, these other countries and other regions don't have any inflation. And this is a time when we are having higher than normal inflation, but not something that is outside of the range that we have been used to. In Europe and US is the first time after 40, 50 years that they've seen inflation climb up as rapidly. Otherwise, inflation since the early 80s has been on a one-way downward slope globally. Whereas in India, we had double-digit CPI inflation, you'll remember, not long ago. I mean, 2008, 2009, due to various reasons, we had even in the teens, the CPI inflation. So right now, inflation in India is 7 to 8%, call it high single digits, which is within the range of what we are used to. The last 20-year average inflation itself being 5 to 6%. So 7-8% in context of 5-6% isn't hurting as much as it is hurting the developed world with 7 to 8% compared to 1%. So that's one point as it relates to economy, with inflation being the biggest issue globally, not as much in India. When you look at corporate sector, obviously the economy, besides inflation and as a consequence of inflation, there's slowdown in the US, and as a consequence of inflation plus the war, there's major slowdown expected in Europe, which is then hurting corporate sector in these countries as demand slowdown, as they are stating a demand slowdown. Whereas India, to some extent, while in India you see there are conflicting forces, while there is some slowdown because of global slowdown impact, but at the same time India is benefiting from the China plus one and now Europe plus one strategy that many corporates are pursuing in their sourcing and supply chain arrangements. And at the same time, if you look at sector by sector, like the banking sector has never been in as good a shape as it is today, and it's a large sector of the economy. And so corporate India is not expected to have such a slowdown in earnings as the slowdown in earnings growth in the developed world and even in China and other EM countries. And as a consequence, the market has held up better in India, has been more resilient in India, because there isn't the expectation of decline in earnings or such a major sharp slowdown in earnings growth as it is elsewhere in the world. And there are other factors, not just earnings growth, other factors besides economy and corporate. If I may club them in the governance bucket, China has undergone a major change in its governance over the last few years, and it's been enshrined with the third term. So it's moved from what was a one-party system, which is at least partial one-party democracy within the party, to more of a single-person rule, and that's caused a substantial de-rating in China, and that's benefited Indian markets with increased flows compared to some of these other countries which are facing trouble.
Right.
Prashant, markets have made quite a, valiant comeback in the last few weeks. But given the backdrop that you've just described, how would you advise really maneuvering the market right now? Would you stick to some of the safer plays? Would you go with, some of the stocks that have a very bullish view with regards to domestic economy and the kind of growth they could see on the back of that? Financials have been a big talking point of late. Is that a story that you're looking at? What would be your approach?
Certainly are. So just to be clear, our team and our approach at White Oak is very bottom-up stock selection driven. We don't try to time where we are in the cycle and how that might impact the different sectors. We rather focus on identifying and investing in what we believe are the best companies at the most attractive valuations in each sector, and that can outperform over the cycle their respective sectors. And if we are able to do that across all sectors, then it doesn't matter where the market is headed, is our belief. But having said that, where we are finding the most attractive opportunities today, Abha, it's also in line with what historically has been the case, is in private sector financials, because there are some extraordinarily well-run private sector financials in India. They're I would say not just within Indian context, but having invested in financials or banking sector around the world, I would say some of the Indian financial sector companies in the private sector space are the best compared to anywhere are available at fairly reasonable and I would say attractive multiples compared to their own past, but also now compared to at what valuations they are compared to some of the emerging market peers. So that's one area where the team continues to find a lot of opportunities to invest. Another area is the whole consumption related, not only staples, but consumer discretionary segment as well. We've always found some very good opportunities. Yes, if there is a slowdown, and if there's a sharper slowdown, then it would hurt the discretionary demand as well. But again, we can't take a top-down view on the economy and then bet the whole portfolio or tilt the portfolio to align with that view. In my experience over the years, that just induces a lot of volatility in performance without adding any alpha or without adding any performance. So we have a balanced portfolio which we expect to do well, regardless of where the economy or the market is headed in the near term. And in the long term, the stock selection should shine through. So consumption related, particularly discretionary consumption related, we continue to find a lot of very attractive opportunities. And then the third segment I would highlight is, which has been under pressure of late, is what we call value-added exports, where India has a strong positioning. And so when I say value-added exports, it's not necessarily to do with bulk commodities, which India anyways has fairly less of. But for example, IT services is entirely value-added export. Also specialty chemicals or pharmaceuticals, these are all examples of value-added exports, and we continue to find attractive opportunities in both IT services and specialty chemicals in particular.
Let's take a very quick break. We'll be back with more on the other side.
Ever heard of zombifiers? No, I'm not talking about flesh-eating maniacs. This is a rare phenomenon that is also known as overwintering fires. This occurs mostly